Well, this weekend I picked up my very first log splitter. Went up to Tractor Supply and picked up the CountyLine 28-ton log splitter. I think it's pretty much a rebrand of Speeco, or very similar to their Husky. They might even just be renaming their kind of Husky brand to this CountyLine type brand. I think it's a pretty solid machine for the most part, but figured I'd show you guys a few of the nuances and a few of the pros and see what you guys think. Haven't ran it at all. It's pretty chilly today, so we'll kind of do a little cold start here so you can kind of see how this Honda engine does. A little early on the choke, I guess. This is kind of what I'm going to split up in some of these examples. This one's probably going to be a little knotty just because of this big bump here. But they're pretty much ash logs, which aren't exactly super hard to split here, but it's all I got at the moment. And they're a little big, so we'll kind of show you both the vertical and the horizontal. Here's just an example of flipping it back. So these guards here are kind of a double-edged sword. If you've ever used a splitter where the wedge is stationary and the cylinder pushes a flat plate into that wedge, I'm sure you've probably run into some nice twisted pieces that kind of get stuck into that wedge. Those guards, when it backs out, the logs bump up against that and the wedge pulls itself out, so you're not fighting that. However, the one downside is a four-way wedge option. They have one available. I think they're about $60 at Fleet Farm, but they don't stick out very far. I think one way they compensate for that is they put a little bit of an upward flare or bend to those wedges so it kind of pries it apart as it splits. I don't have one of those yet. I think it's something I might pick up and experiment with and see if it's worth it. So one thing that drives me absolutely insane with this machine is the exhaust location. If you're running it in the horizontal position, it's going to be blowing on your leg if you're working on this side of the machine. If you're working in the vertical position, it could possibly be blowing in your face. I think a simple fix that Speeco or Tractor Supply someone could provide here is just have a pipe that diverts. I think I might just end up welding something onto mine to help divert that hot air. The other thing that drives me a little insane is when it comes time to do maintenance, the oil level dipstick and fill location is just in a real poor spot. Trying to get a bottle in here and not dumping oil all over the place is a little tricky. They do have kind of flexible funnels that you can screw onto a bottle of oil, and it definitely makes filling this thing a whole lot easier. So we kind of zoom in here, in this bottom corner down here. You can see the gray cap right there. It's just not in the best place. So here's one thing I worry about a little bit. If you're standing over here splitting wood and you take a look just off to the side here, you can see there's the hydraulic filter. It's a little exposed, maybe a little too easily accessible from a flying log. I just see it as an opportunity for something to have a whack at that. So the one other thing that I really kind of wish that there was a little bit of throttle control with this motor. There doesn't really seem to be one. That's kind of a choke and then runs. So you don't really have the option to kind of dial it down. Now for some of the pros. This machine, well, it's powerful. Hasn't even hesitated once on anything I've thrown at it. I've thrown anything for some real twisted stringy pieces of elm to some real knotty pieces of oak. This thing just gobbles them up like nothing. Another big feature I like is this motor seems to be pretty easy to start. I don't think I've had to pull it more than 1 or 2 times on average to get it started. The motor also seems to be pretty easy to come by for parts, so if I ever ran into problems, I don't see any problem getting parts. And if things really hit the fan, it's a pretty common motor size. So I could go to Harbor Freight and spend $100 to get a 6.5 horse motor and pop it right on and away I go. This machine's really built to take some abuse. The steel on it's pretty heavy duty, and pretty happy with that. I think the body of this thing should last a lifetime. What I really do enjoy is the self-standing feature where you can put the leg down and have it sit there on its own. So if you dragged it out to a field and wanted to run in for lunch real quick or something, you could jump on your four-wheeler or truck or whatever and head back in and leave that thing out there. Especially if you got a couple guys running this, you could do a little rotation thing. One other design feature I really like of this machine is that it splits off the back. I've worked with some other splitters before where they split going towards the front, and if it's hooked up to a whatever, you got those logs banging right into the back of it. One other note is it uses a 2-inch ball. I really like that feature as well because most of my trailers all use a 2-inch ball, so I don't have to spend time monkeying around and changing the ball on my receiver hitch. Another pro of this machine is the price point. I think they're generally around $1,300 brand new. You can't even build a splitter yourself for that much if you don't have the materials laying around. But in conclusion, I love this thing. We split almost all our wood by hand here, and now having this in the arsenal, will save a lot of time and a lot of stress on the back. So I'm pretty excited about that. This thing seems very, very powerful, where so far it hasn't hesitated once with anything I've thrown at it, and well, I'm quite happy with it right now. If you guys have had similar experiences or complete different experiences, please leave a comment, let me know about them. I'd be kind of really interested to hear about your experiences. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks for watching.